Welcome to the Louisiana Derby preview here on FanDuel as we get set for the first of 8 100-point to the winner events for the Kentucky Derby 150. Scott Hazelton, Kyle Levy with you. And Kyle, these are important races. We know that. Top two finishers, you get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. And this is a race in Louisiana where a horse like Track Phantom's looking to bounce back, but then a few others that are also really looking to bounce back in a big way, like a horse like Hall of Fame, who did not live up to expectations in that run in the Risen Star last time out.
Yeah, and that Risen Star run was definitely a little bit of a disappointment for Hall of Fame. I believe he went off about 3-1 or 7-2, and there was just a lot of talk about the horse going into that race. So I believe the horse finished about 7th place in that Risen Star. So yeah, it wasn't the best one, but $1 million on the line in this Louisiana Derby later tonight. But like you mentioned, 100 points, 50 points for second place. That's probably the more important aspect of this race later on today. And we've got a whole field of 12 in it. Now, this graphic is actually a little bit not updated or the most, because I believe Agate Road is a scratch and Triple Espresso as well. That one just came out recently too. So the 1 and the 4, both Todd Pletcher horses, won't be in this race.
Yeah, we're just getting that news out of Louisiana. We've got evidence of Triple Espresso. I've not seen Agate Road as a scratch just yet, but we'll
you know
see
what?
if
I had
that
seen
does.
Kevin Kirstein's tweet yesterday, so maybe that wasn't accurate, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll clean that up. We'll be checking in with Ashley here in a bit. Ashley Mailloux, she's actually part of the team down there in Louisiana that have been there all week. 12 races ahead of us. Want to thank you for joining us on the FanDuel stream. We want ask you to get involved through the various social channels. If you got any questions for us, we'd love to hear them. But speaking of Track Phantom, he draws outside once again. Outside draw. He drew post 11 last time out in the Risen Star Stakes. And he did what we have seen from him, and that's make the lead. But in the latter stages of this race, over a sloppy track, which they're not going to have today at Fairgrounds, he gets caught by Sierra Leone, who opts to sit this one out. Where we see him next, maybe it's the Toyota Bluegrass at Keeneland or in New York in the Wood. But he stayed steady. I mean, this is not a flashy horse. He's trying down on the inside of Sierra Leone. He's in front of Catching Freedom. He's probably the favorite of this race. But the added distance today, what do you expect from Track Phantom here as he looks to continue this path that he's on towards the Run for the Roses?
Well, the added distance is kind of my only question, because you saw he got passed last time out, like we just saw in by Sierra Leone, but the added distance here kind of makes me question it, especially because last time out, it's not like the horse was going all that fast. I believe looking at the half-mile time was just under 50 seconds. So set pretty reasonable fractions on the lead as compared to when the horse ran in the Gun Runner 3 races back. Track Phantom was flying to start the race at 23.61 opening quarter and 46.93 opening half. And the horse still rolled to win by almost 2 lengths in that. But I don't know. I think the sloppy track in that Risen Star probably made Sierra Leone pass late a little bit better. I think getting back on a fast track today will be a benefit to Track Phantom, especially being on that outside post position yet again. The question is anyone going to challenge the horse for the lead? Because we haven't really seen that in the past couple of races.
Yeah, that is the big question for him, and I don't know that there really is one. Antiquarian perhaps could be thrown into that conversation with Johnny Velasquez, but does he want to be aggressive and try to take on Track Phantom, who it seems like he has to go to the front? I shouldn't say has to go to the front, but he's likely going to go to the front. And there's a much longer run into that first turn. So that's another thing that you got to consider with that long stretch at Fairgrounds in New Orleans. Speaking at Fairgrounds, we've got Ashley Mailloux as promised. She's on the backstretch getting set for this big day. And standing next to one of the competitors, you've got the Jolly Ball there. Don't touch the Jolly Ball, Ashley. That's the rules when you're there next to the horses on the backstretch. Who are you standing next to?
I'm in the Brad Cox barn, Scott, with Catching Freedom, who will post 5 today in the Louisiana Derby. And, you know, when you walk into a barn, you never know what sort of personality you're going to see in a horse and what's normal for them. But he's kind of has all those personalities. I came in here, he was very observant, wanted to get very close to me, and I stayed away from him. And he's going to do the same right now. And he's kind of, you know, looking around a little bit, but he kind of minds his own manners. Then he does his own thing and he comes back and checks out his surroundings. You can tell he's very intelligent. He's also a little bit of a a puppy dog in ways. He talked about the jolly ball. He's been playing with that a bunch. Been kind of shaking his head around a little bit, sticking his tongue out. I'm hoping he does it at some point here because it's hilarious. He'll just stare at you, stick his tongue out, and just leave it there for a little bit. But he looks very happy, healthy as we expect, and really curious about his chances today in the Louisiana Derby. When you talk about horses exiting the Risen Star, we know Sierra Leone was able to close from off of it and had to swing wide, but all in all, I thought for his first local performance here, it was good, and he had to split horses several times in the race. He was a little bit green, so he's one that I think he could take a big step forward. You can see him right now. He's just cool, doing his own thing.
Yeah, I think his last race was good. He kind of flattened out a little bit there, but this actually was a pretty substantial jump up in competition. And he ran against Just Steel. I love Just Steel for Dwayne Lucas when he beat him in the Smarty Jones. But Sierra Leone to Track Phantom, I think that was a jump up. The circumstances going into it, he's got looking at pedigrees, because we're going to start diving more into pedigrees as we move towards the Kentucky Derby, and we already should be, really. He's got a pedigree for the Derby. He's by Constitution. He's out of a Pioneer of the Nile first dam. Catch My Drift, who was a stakes-winning race filly as well. So I think that he's got a big chance in here today to take a step forward, and Flavian Pratt ends up in the race. Now, Ashley, Kyle was talking about the scratches in here. The only scratch that we've seen so far at Fairgrounds is Triple Espresso. Do you have any more on the scratches for the Louisiana Derby for our viewers out there?
No, that's the only one that I have at this point. I looked at the scratches here. There's not many scratches when I looked on the card as a whole in terms of you're keeping a lot of the field size, but they were actually uploading them into the system when I jumped back here. So hopefully get an update shortly. But, you're talking about scratches. A couple of horses were entered elsewhere, that being at Turfway Park. And actually Catching Freedom was one of them, but he stays here, as you can see, at the fairground. So it's interesting when these Derby preps, they fall on the same weekend.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts, and this is going to get the party started here on FanDuel TV as far as the first of the 8 100-point to the winner Kentucky Derby preps presented by Spendthrift Farm on FanDuel TV. Kyle, we talked, Ashley talking about Catching Freedom. He was in the Risen Star Stakes. He made that move. He got himself up to third, and then he kind of flattened out. Do you see progression in store for this colt as we go back to that Risen Star Stakes once again as we pinpoint Catching Freedom?
I think we could, especially, I'll tell you what, that was great, Ashley. He looked fired up and ready to go for the race later on today. So that made me feel a little bit better about Catching Freedom. But I didn't think he looked bad at all here. I thought this was a pretty good, pretty game third place effort in the Risen Star. And I think if the horse had maybe been a little bit closer to the inside, a little bit closer to the rail, instead of being maybe 3-4 wide going around that far turn, definitely would have had a shot for getting probably second place as opposed to third, maybe not first, but I think could definitely improve today. And like you said, has that pedigree to go the distance, especially the mile and 3/16 here. So I think could be one to come in for, I don't want to say a price, he's 4-1 on the morning line, but definitely one to look out for the Brad Cox barn.
Yeah, he'll probably be vying for the second choice between, maybe Hall of Fame gets a little play, just people expecting him to bounce back, the number 2 horse, who now draws the rail with the scratch of Triple Espresso. Ashley, we're going to turn you loose. We're going to turn Catching Freedom loose as well and let him take a nap or whatever he's got in store for the morning activities out there in New Orleans, as it's just past 10:30 Central Time at Fairgrounds. Ashley, have a great day. We cannot wait. Is there one horse, though, you can give us? I know
bring us winners.
Card. Give us a winner for the day.
Well,
it doesn't necessarily need to be in the Louisiana Derby.
Okay, I'm flipping real quick in my past performances. Give me a second.
That's okay. You got a second. You got time.
Flip away.
Okay, so I have a hot opinion. Hot take here.
Okay.
Tom Benson Memorial, race 8. I do think Spirit and Glory was very impressive here in the Elstall Memorial just a month ago. But I really like the 4 Watch This Birdie for Ignacio Correa's James Graham in the irons. I think this horse is going to take a huge step forward. We have to think about this. It rained a lot here yesterday. The turf course a month ago was soft. I believe we're starting the day with a good turf course. We'll see if that gets upgraded or downgraded. But the warm weather has helped, and I think this horse is going to take a big step forward at hopefully a price, 8-1 on the morning line.
Awesome.
All right.
Good to know. That'll be the start of the pick 5 too, that 8th race, all stakes pick 5. So I'm fired up for that sequence too. So watch this, Birdie. I'll be including Ashley.
Thanks, guys.
Let's spin it back. All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Let's spin it back to the Louisiana Derby, Kyle, and take a look at a horse that is a horse that he needs to step up. There's no doubt. Tuscan Gold, the 11 horse for Chad Brown. He broke his maiden at Gulfstream Park. last time out, drew off by 6 1/4 lengths. It looks flashy with what he was able to do. Tuscan Gold, the son of Medaglia d'Oro. He was the second choice in this race because Skip the Line, the horse that he beats, just down to his inside. This is the half brother to Arrogate, who's yet to live up to the full expectations placed on him due to pedigree and all of it. But this is a flashy looking win, and this is a big jump up. I mean, he's making the same jump that we saw Hall of Fame make when it comes to coming from maiden special weight company into a graded stakes race like this.
For sure. It's a huge step up, but the horse only's got those 2 starts. And look, that was a pretty impressive maiden win, honestly. Drew away, won by 6 lengths in the end. Came from a little bit off the pace, but the only thing that I will say is the pace was a little bit hot in that race. They went 23.75 opening quarter, 47.56 opening half. So it was kind of one that someone could have closed in on, but nonetheless, super impressive for second timer, and definitely will, well, I don't want to say definitely, but should improve in this race. Second off that really brief layoff coming out of that maiden special weight win. But $600,000 purchase, getting Chad Brown here, Tyler Gaffleone in the irons. They've been killing it together recently. So one that you should certainly look at. And 8-1, I think we're going to get probably about every bit of that 8-1. I don't think the horse will take too much money when all is said and done. So I thought it was a great win last time out. Nice stalking one, and the distance shouldn't really be a question. The horse looked like he could go an extra eighth of a mile here.
Yeah, he's got the pedigree. It's the big jump up though that concerns me at this time of the year when you've got so many horses that have had the opportunity to be seasoned against the likes of the best of what we've seen from the 3-year-old crop right now. And I think that it's safe to say that we've seen these horses start to sort themselves out, and they already have when running in grade 3s and grade 2s as we get to the grade 1 portion of the road to the Kentucky Derby. But going over back to Hall of Fame, who now draws the rail, the number 2 horse for the Coolmore Connections, the Gunrunner, $1.4 million purchase, huge win, second career start, took a huge step forward from sprinting to routing. And here was that route debut. It was the same afternoon as the LeCompte. He ran faster than Track Phantom. He created so much buzz. It was earlier in the day, which I tend to think that maybe the track may play a little bit faster for what it's worth, and we talked about that. But if you look at the speed figures, is this just a bounce situation? He ran well debut, then so fast, that huge jump, and then he bounced back. Can he bounce back in the other direction and start to get faster today?
I think so. I like to think so. But man, that run right there, super impressive. And then I was kind of excited for him in the Risen Star last time out, but no, the horse kind of just didn't run like that at all. I think we could see a better run similar to that one. Like you said, the track was playing a lot faster, probably earlier in the day as opposed to later, which is why we saw those times. But I don't think we're going to get a sloppy track today, obviously. Ashley said it rained a little bit yesterday or something, but looks like we're going to get fast track conditions when all is said and done. So I think getting that inside post position, especially with the scratch of the 1 now, the horse is probably going to need a little bit better of a start, kind of like we saw in that run 2 back, as opposed to last time out, kind of didn't break all that alertly and ended up being about 5th place early on. So I think starting a little bit better, you're going to put up a better figure than that 77 buyer last time out, I would assume. So it's a questionable one, but 8-1. This is a position that I love to kind of bet a horse in, where they got hammered and won their race. And then next time out, they take much tougher competition. They took a lot of money. There was a lot of talk going into Hall of Fame right before that Risen Star, and just didn't run how the horse can run for Steve Asmussen. So I think step up, get back to that level that you kind of ran at 2 back. And if you can, you have a great shot here today, and you'll be a much better price than you were in that Risen Star just a month ago.
I think that this horse, the way that he's played, and I know it doesn't always pan out this way, but the way that he's played and his win odds tell you what he's going to do today, in my opinion. I know that you can't take that approach in handicapping races, but if he's live on the board, I think he'll be live. But I think if he's cold, that's telling you the story of Hall of Fame.
And you can take that stance leading up to a race. It's just tougher when you're playing horizontals, but leading up to a race, that's a totally fair way to kind of handicap. You know, you set your own opinion, but you set your lines and you say, all right, if this horse is this price, maybe I don't want to bet it. Or retrospectively, you could say, hey, if this horse is getting absolutely hammered, I should probably have my eyeballs on it, and there's probably a reason for it, right?
No question about it. So we'll find out once we get down to post time as far as the price and what it's going to be on a horse like Hall of Fame, and if he can bounce back and live up to the expectations that he established for himself going into the Risen Star, and see how, if in fact he is a serious Kentucky Derby contender, because that's what it's about right now. Are you a contender, or are you one that will have to kind of reshift focus to the summer months and look at some other races, or potentially start to refocus your campaign, cut back in distance, things of that nature, because there are a lot of options when it comes to 3-year-olds. And I think the same can be said for the next horse that we're going to talk about, Agate Road for Rapoli and St. Elias Stables, quality road colt. He's been good on turf. They tried him back on dirt in the Sam F. Davis back at mid-February or beginning of February, and he comes with this long run from way back and ends up finishing a length and a quarter second in this race to No More Time. Was this a flashy close? Can he do it again today? Added distance? Is he a dirt horse? Is he a turf horse? What's your read on Agate Road, the 4?
I'm getting a tough read on Agate Road, honestly. The dirt versus turf, the horses kind of ran well on both, so it's tough to see. You only have those 2 dirt starts, one of them being the debut about 6 runs back, and one of them being that Sam F. Davis run that we just saw. So improved in the second dirt run, I think could definitely improve this run too. Probably won't want to be 10 lengths back. Won't want to be all the way in the back this time. Be a little bit closer to the front of the pace, but certainly one that I would consider. You're getting the best jockey in the world right now, Irad Ortiz and Todd Pletcher teaming up. So it's a tough one. And lost to No More Time, who just last time out in the Tampa Bay Derby it was like neck and neck, whiskers between Domestic Product and No More Time. So he lost to a really good horse, came closing late. You get some more added distance here. 8-1, certainly one I'd consider. But yeah, the dirt versus turf form, it questions me. I'm not sure where we go with this horse.
Yeah, this is it's a race that there's so many question marks, right?
Oh my God, it's such a fun
established.
Race.
It's horses trying to get back into form, and it's, I think it's maybe unfair to say that about Track Phantom, because in my opinion he did nothing wrong in the Risen Star. He was just run down by Sierra Leone, who is a very, very good horse, and amongst the top 5 Kentucky Derby horses, I think, on most respected lists that you go out there and take a look at. But this is going to be a fun one there in Louisiana. I go back to Track Phantom. I think he can just continue to stay steady out there on the front end. The pace probably won't be all that fast, in my opinion, and I think that lends itself to Track Phantom. And losses come along. We've seen very good horses lose races along the way. You want to lose early versus late in this process. That's that's the key. You don't want to be losing you don't want to be losing races like this, and obviously you want to get ready and try to win the big one first Saturday in May in the Derby. So I think Track Phantom bounces back here today. I wish he had a better post, but listen, that's how the pills were pulled, and he's going to have plenty of run going into that first turn with Joao Rosario.
Yeah, I think Track Phantom's going to be probably the one to beat. And look, you don't run into Sierra Leone in this race. If Sierra Leone was in this race, I'd be taking Sierra Leone, but we don't have that horse. I don't think anyone's really going to be pushing this horse too much. I think he'll easily get that lead. He'll probably set some reasonable fractions, kind of like he did last time out, but he gets on the fast track today. So I think that will benefit him even more. So Track Phantom probably my top pick, but if there was another one that I was going to go with, I'm going to go with actually Common Defense, who we haven't really touched upon. This one, the Kenny McPeak horse, number 10 right now. You're getting 6-1, finished second behind Timberlake in that Rebel Stakes just a few weeks ago out at Oaklawn Park. So this is one that not going to be towards the front end, but should be kind of sitting right off the pace, maybe a few lengths back. Ended up getting second, like I said, at 27-1 in that Risen Star. Found the rail kind of late and closed super well over pretty much all the other horses besides Timberlake. So I think, especially if you look at the race 2 back, that Southwest Stakes, totally disappointed. Bad start. Track was muddy on that day. So kind of forgive that run. And that maiden special weight debut or maiden win, that 3 back, pretty impressive one too. So I like getting back on the fast track. I like the price. And if I'm going to take a closer, that's the one that I'd be taking, Common Defense. But Track Phantom is definitely the one to beat. Might be my single in my late all stakes pick 5 here today.
That is the opinions from us. We expect plenty more opinions over the course of the day on FanDuel TV. Make sure you join. You can join right now. There is a full team on site at the fairgrounds. We saw Ashley there next to Catching Freedom. She'll be part of the team along with Todd Schrupp and Simon Bray, Joaquin Jaime, Caton Bradar. So a full team on site at fairgrounds. Kyle, have a great day. Hopefully you've got more green when it comes to your pocket versus what's just behind you after today's fairgrounds card.
I was trying to set up a background, but when we were it wasn't working. So that's why it's just the green background.
Hey, it's all good, brother.
But that's all right. Let's get some winners today. Give me 5 in a row just so I can hit a nice pick 5 time on this Saturday. We got Louisiana Derby, and I'll tell you what, I'm ready for Turfway Park later tonight too. So it'll be a great day.
That Turfway Park card is going to be
fantastic.
Huge when it comes to the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and another 100-point to the winner. And think about the horses that have come out of there. 2 Phils, who ran such a big race in last year's Kentucky Derby, finishing second part of that pace and almost getting there. But he was a winner of the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Kyle, appreciate it. We'll be catching up soon. And make sure you join us over on FanDuel TV as the team is ready on site at Fairgrounds. Will be all across the country, from Fairgrounds to Gulfstream to Turfway Park to Santa Anita. We've got a great card out here on the West Coast to get you ready for a big Saturday on FanDuel TV. For Ashley, for Kyle, for the whole team here on FanDuel, thank you so much for joining us here on this FanDuel stream as we get you set for the big 100-point race in Louisiana in the Big Easy, the Louisiana Derby. Catch it over on FanDuel TV.